Story 1. Struggle for purpose. The fact is that once you are an adult and you are on a certain path, it is much harder to get off that path than when you are a child. Story 2. Having bouts of overwhelm every now and then. Overwhelmed by all the responsibilities. Work, family, finances, and everything that needs to be done, but not enough time, energy, or resources to do it. Story 3. Lack of purpose. I think most people are largely unaware as they tune it out with television, family, work, social media, and so on. This is why the world feels so cold. People suffer, but we are told we have it good because of materialism and capitalism. When we are not satisfied, we blame ourselves and fill that void by setting the next goal. A new car, a promotion at work, a better house, or a new baby. Anything to distract from the fact that life is not meant to be this way. We spend our lives selling our bodies and time to corporations for the privilege of giving our wages back to them through rent, bills, and superficial entertainment. Story 4. Boredom. Even if life is pretty good, it can be monotonous, especially if you deal with moderate depression. Story 5. Silent comparison steals joy when you feel like you are falling behind in life while pretending to have everything together. Story 6. Miscarriage. My wife and I had a miscarriage recently. I was really upset about it, but decided I would be honest. I told people what happened and that I was sad, without any embellishment. Many people then opened up that they had gone through it too. It is almost no exaggeration to say it was most of the people I know with children. Clearly, it happens all the time and people just suppress the sadness and pretend because there is a taboo about talking about it. Story 7. The pressure to maintain the image of having everything together is strong. My apartment looks perfect for social media when guests come over, but the drawer under my bed is full of unopened mail and random junk I hide at the last minute. Story 8. Money. I'm not broke and haven't been in a long time. I make very good money, but expenses add up fast and I do get tight every now and then. It weighs on me a lot. It is very frustrating at times. I think many people can relate, but no one talks about it. Story 9. Accepting the reality that you will likely never be a parent. It is just not in the cards for everyone. Many people talk about the struggles of being a parent, but few discuss those who wanted to be parents but never found someone suitable to have children with. Story 10. Being abused, especially by a partner, is difficult. Everyone thinks you can just pick up and leave, but it is not that easy. Of course, everyone who meets him thinks he is good-looking, charming, hardworking, and generous. He really is. To the outside world, I am living the dream. My children and I see him differently. He has never directly harmed my children, only me, which is harmful enough. Story 11. Anxiety. Depression slowly steals your life. You do not want to get up, shower, go to work, or open your mail. Anxiety makes you act. It forces you to self-medicate with food, shopping, gambling, drugs, alcohol, or the internet. Keeps you awake at night with a mind you cannot shut off. It makes you replay conversations repeatedly in your mind. It causes you to overthink and question everything you do. Story 12. Feeling disappointed in their relationships but unwilling to leave them, and simply tolerating their unhappiness. Story 13. Being overwhelmed by advancing technology, such as artificial intelligence and others, and the flood of information, devices, incompatibilities, malfunctions, scams, and so on. Story 14. Since money is a taboo subject to talk about in public, I think about poverty. Many people are struggling and are less than one paycheck away from being homeless, but we as a society do not speak about money. Story 15. Regretting life choices such as marriage, relationships, having children, or not pursuing opportunities because of responsibilities. Story 16. Imposter syndrome. I am almost 50, married for 28 years, with 3 successful, educated adult children, and a professional career. I still wonder when I will be an actual adult with life figured out. Story 17. It has been my experience that many people who are thought to be wealthy actually struggle with money. They may have good salaries and earn well, but many of them have significant debt. If you cannot manage $15 an hour, you probably cannot manage $50 an hour. Story 18. Intrusive thoughts. Many people experience intrusive thoughts and do not know what to do because sometimes they are ashamed or afraid of being called crazy. Please share that cognitive behavioral therapy is the most frequently used and effective treatment. There are many people out there, including in your family, who suffer alone. Story 19. Life after work seems to be just that. They have no hobbies, they do not truly live. They merely survive. Story 20. Easily set expectations by social media create unrealistic goals. Everyone wants to be a chief executive officer and rich, but the reality is that only the top 1% will achieve this. Story 21. The constant feeling of despair from giving up over half of your waking hours to a soulless corporation that would not help you even in an emergency. All for the ability to give most of your money to greedy landlords and corporations that control your access to food. This continues every day until you die broken and unfulfilled. Story 22. Feeling like you are constantly behind in life, even when you are checking all the boxes. Like you are working, maintaining relationships, trying to stay healthy, maybe even succeeding by most metrics, yet deep down it still feels like you are failing or missing something. It is that quiet hum of, I should be doing more, that never shuts off. Nobody wants to admit they feel that way because it sounds ungrateful or weak, but it is everywhere, especially in your 30s when life starts to feel like a treadmill with no pause button. Story 23. Waking up every day pretending they are okay because they do not want to be a burden to anyone is the silent weight many carry. Story 24. I am a 66-year-old female, and yes, loneliness is very real. I am a very liberal, progressive woman with several college degrees. Many of my friends became supporters of the Make America Great Again movement. I could not continue relationships with any of them. The same applies to my extended family. I am in a much better place mentally after removing them from my social circle. While I have less contact with people, I also experience less anxiety, and that more than makes up for it. Story 25. Difficulty making and keeping friends. Maybe it is my age, but I operate as though no one genuinely likes my company, so I keep it moving. Unless someone asks me to hang out and actually gives me their address and a time to arrive, I assume we are merely acquaintances, and I will not pursue a friendship because I do not want to appear needy. It is very effective in ensuring my loneliness. Story 26. People not listening? Honestly, most of the time when people are having conversations, the other party is just waiting to respond and not really listening to what you have to say. I don't know if most people even think about that or how much it bothers them, but conversations are very hollow with most people. Story 27. The thing I think about the most is whether I am a good parent. Did I adequately prepare my son to be a functioning adult? I am 51 and he is 21. Everything is so different from the way we grew up, and sometimes I do not feel like an adult myself. Life is crazy. Story 28. Depression. Many people think it is just feeling a little sad for a few minutes, but it can actually affect you deeply for months at a time or longer. It can seriously impact you both physically and mentally. Story 29. Hopelessness. You go to work, pay your bills, and the economy is what it is, but many people just can't escape living paycheck to paycheck. The media constantly bombards everyone with everything they are missing out on. Corporations increasingly gouge every penny they can from you. Governments are willing accomplices, and our leaders are just awful. We slowly inch towards some form of retirement, such as it is, and each grinding step saps our strength and health. What's a vacation? Oh yeah, when my boss takes one, I cover for him, that's what it is. Even a day off or a 3-day weekend, the backlog of projects and maintenance or repairs is staggering, and you feel guilty for not doing those things because you commute all week to a job, get home late, and just don't have the energy. Then you feel more guilty because you know you could do more. You could eat healthier, find time to work out, or make better financial choices, but you're tired, have lost hope, and just want to take your mind off accounting for every dollar from your paycheck so you can pay the mortgage, phone bill, utilities, subscriptions, insurance, car payments, have money for your kids, take the sick dog to the vet, and so on. Your parents, if they are still alive, tell you how good you have it and how disappointed they are because you don't vote the way they do or come to visit all the time. Feels bad, but you have to put on a good face. No one likes the negative coworker. People who ask, "Hey, how's it going?" don't want a truthful answer. They want a socially acceptable lie. You certainly cannot be depressed around your kids because they pick up on it when they are younger, and when they get older, it gets worse. Story 30. Settling on most of their desires for life. Many people say life is good, but many have made compromises along the way. Story 31. Loss of hearing. I am not referring to being completely deaf, but to high-frequency hearing loss that significantly impacts my ability to understand what people are saying. These days, at least in my circle, people speak very softly or simply mumble. There is no clear enunciation or projection in their voices. Sometimes they speak so fast that my brain cannot keep up. For me, this creates a wall of embarrassment because I have to repeatedly ask people to repeat themselves. Story 32. One silent struggle many adults face but rarely talk about is feeling like they are falling behind in life, whether in their career, relationships, finances, or personal growth. Despite outward appearances, many people quietly compare themselves to others, question their decisions, and carry a deep fear that they are not where they should be. This feeling is often masked by busyness or humor, but it can lead to anxiety, burnout, or a sense of isolation, especially since it is rarely discussed openly. Create purpose, not pressure. Instead of chasing an ideal timeline, ask, what feels meaningful to me right now? Purpose fuels energy and satisfaction in a way external validation never can. Redefine success. Success is not a one-size-fits-all formula. What looks like falling behind by one standard might actually mean you are investing in things that matter deeply to you, like health, family, or creativity. Ask yourself, what do I actually value? Then base your goals on that, not someone else's timeline. Story 33. Cleaning your house or apartment is like rolling a stone up a hill, knowing that once you let go, it will fall back, and you have to roll it up again and again, forever. Story 34. Along with depression, loneliness, and regret is the loss of close contact with or estrangement from grown children who have left home. While that may not be true of most adults, it is certainly true for many. It is rarely discussed by those affected because it is viewed as both embarrassing and evidence of failure, even though it may not be failure at all. Story 35. Nobody is willing to talk about it. Depression and despair. Modern life has left many of us jaded, hurt, and confused about what to do, how to fix it, or even how to start. Society sells us the idea that successful people have it all figured out and that you should have managed to do so before 30. We do not see each other as humans anymore. We are like flesh robots meant to play our part and stay quiet so that we do not disturb the hive mind. Story 36. Feeling like everything is never enough or feeling like people your age are doing better in life. Story 37. The entire how to adult approach. I do not think anyone figured it out, and we are all just stumbling through life trying to do our best. Story 38. A major issue is mental health. I am 25 years old, and it seems that I cannot find anyone 5 years older than me or more who acknowledges it. Story 39. Not knowing what to do or having a feeling of, I need an adult for this, before sadly realizing you are an adult. So it is best to figure things out. Story 40. Trying to live life normally based on society's expectations and then regretting it. Regretting marriage, having children, buying a house, and being a slave to a mortgage when you could be doing what you want with the money. Regretting your dream job just to make a little more money. Story 41. They know their job is pointless and contributes absolutely nothing to the betterment of our society or our planet. Story 42. I do not think anybody has a clue about what they are doing for the most part. We are all just here trying to figure it out. Story 43. Not having the energy or will to date. I pretend that I have been on a few dates and that I regularly use Tinder and Hinge. I always lie because I am quite good looking and athletic, so many people assume I am active on the dating scene, and I do not want them to ask questions. The truth is, I have not dated since I broke up 2.5 years ago. I assume many people do the same. Story 44. Anxiety. Lack of fulfillment. Bone-crushing rat race reality of working until you are too old to enjoy life and die. Story 45. Why does every other adult seem grown up while you still feel like a clueless teenager? Resolution. Everyone feels like that. Story 46. Needing the freshness of inner youth and not finding it. I guess that is why some middle-aged men turn to younger female partners. It is not necessarily for sex or looks, as they cannot keep it up. It is more the inner expression of youth coming out unbound and seen in the most innocent and blissful form. I guess. Story 47. These are all heavily discussed topics. A good silent struggle is the wipe after a public bowel movement. It seems as if God has a hobby of attaching the most complicated wipes possible with public defecation. I have been taking soapy toilet paper in stalls with me for the last 5 years. It has helped me avoid a lot of issues. Story 48. The future is no longer something we can predict. It used to be that you could say, "Oh, I will be married with my own house by the time I am 60, and the world would be at peace." Story 49. Most recently, it is money. On the surface, I look like I am doing well, but that is all it is, surface level. Story 50. I believe a silent struggle many adults face is being fully responsible for their own future. As an adult, every decision you make, whether it is about your career, relationships, finances, lifestyle, or habits, can shape the life you will have in 1 year, 10, or 20. Unlike childhood, where you are guided and supported by parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, or teachers, adulthood often means carrying that weight alone. You are the only one truly responsible for what you become. Story 51. A sense of powerlessness. In life, we often encounter difficulties such as work, health, and our children. We truly want to improve things, but sometimes we feel helpless, as if there is nothing we can do. Story 52. We have such amazing close friends that we move away from for seemingly more important things like work. Story 53. Grief. When I was a child, grief was acknowledged. It was discussed. Be extra kind to Mrs. X. She was widowed last month. Black armbands were worn, curtains were drawn, and mourning stationery was used. Now, the bereaved have to move around in their upended world as if their loss never happened. Story 54. Existential crisis. Even my friends did not really mention it, but the moment I started talking about it, 3 of them said, "Holy cow. Okay, it is not just us. We are all in our late 30s or early 40s. Story 55. Even though I knew I was lucky, I hated homeownership and felt immense anxiety and buyer's remorse. I felt that I was failing at being an adult. Story 56. Fear of death or fear of how you will die. Even if they do not admit it, I think everyone fears it a little. Story 57. I am turning a legal adult this year and moving away for college. This thread is helpful for understanding what I might have to struggle with. Story 58. Mental illness. I know some of you might think otherwise, but there is an incredibly large population of us who battle in silence, either to save face, to prevent others from worrying, out of shame, or even possibly not knowing they are struggling. Story 59. Time for rest and hobbies. If left uncontrolled, the need to always be busy culture can cause significant harm. Story 60. Constant reminders of never being able to live up to your potential or being forced to step back from your goals because of life. Story 61. Watching your parents age and slowly realizing they will eventually need you more than you need them. Story 62. Lack of community. No one taught them how to build one, so many people do not have anyone to rely on for support. Story 63. I am not lonely. You are lonely. I am a man. I do not need anyone. Story 64. In modern society, a lack of focus and purpose results from too many tasks and distractions, as well as the increasing noise and sheer volume of new information, books, movies, and social media. Parenting is also harder due to more demands, higher pressure, and increased judgment. Story 65. Being a man and all that it entails. I am not talking about laying bricks, nor being scolded for putting on the foundation or having to provide. I am talking about all of it. Not a single person cares about who or what you are if you are a mediocre provider. And mediocre means 50% of men. Story 66. What was their name? I know I heard it. Was it Martha? Did it just rhyme with Martha? What was their name? It was right there. There will be a pop quiz at some point soon. I just know it. Maeve? Melva? Is Melva even a name? Marva? No, that's Ander. Ha, I should watch that again. What was I doing? Story 67. Chronic pain feels like a limited window that closes when it comes to communication. Finding balance when it never goes away and instinctively knowing you can only say so much is very tricky. Story 68. I do not think this is a universal experience necessarily, but I am equally confident that I am not alone in it. Simply being utterly drained at the end of the day. Once I am through with the tasks I have to complete, there is still time in the day but nothing left in the energy tank to do the things I want to do for myself. I have a list of personal projects a mile long, and even thinking about it makes me feel guilty. Story 69. Feeling like they are falling behind while pretending they have it all together. Comparison and quiet self-doubt are heavier than we think. Story 70. I would not say it is a silent struggle, but people struggle with being alone. Most cannot handle it, which is why many rush into relationships and marriages and end up unhappy. Story 71. Most adults are terrified of their inevitable non-existence and invent ways to cope, such as religion. They never talk about it because they convince themselves that their invisible friend will take them to eternal pleasure after they die. Story 72. Feeling unworthy of Jesus Christ's blood. He loves you all no matter what. Give it to him. He is the only way. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.